Aloha, beautiful souls. Welcome to Grace Light Podcast. This is an opportunity to really connect to your highest self, to the purpose of your life, connect to your destiny, your vision, your truth. I hope you find some information that is inspiring and helps you align with the highest outcome for yourself at this time. Today we're going to go into the subjects of forgiveness and gratitude. They're two very important things that have the ability to actively be a transformation in one's life. Thankfully, I was introduced more directly to forgiveness practice when I moved to Hawaii about 11 years ago. There were two different forms that I was introduced to this practice. One was through the Hawaiian tradition of what would be called ho'oponopono. The second was through the teacher that I study with, my spiritual teacher, Dr. Chiang, and he introduced to me a forgiveness practice that I, at that time, began incorporating into my life on a daily basis. Since then, I've also integrated the message of forgiveness more sincerely and more wholeheartedly of why it holds such a significant impact in my present day, my past experiences, and in my future reality. So we'll start with the message of forgiveness, and then I'll share a little bit more about the significance of gratitude. So relating to forgiveness, in my first episode on this podcast, I brought up the subject of our Akashic Record book, which is the book of our soul's journey, where it's recorded all of our thoughts, our actions, our behaviors, and experiences, including those of our ancestors. So say we're just talking about this life. We have also beyond us hundreds of ancestors that were connected to us for us to be able to be born individually in this life. There's also the possibility of other lifetimes that we may have had, where we also had our personal actions, thoughts, behaviors, and experiences, and our ancestors. So there's many different ways we can look at it. So current day, in our present reality, the experiences we have are going to be based on past experiences we contributed to, either positively or negatively. And if we're experiencing present day challenges with our health, challenges with our finances, challenges with our relationships, challenges with our work, our animals, our home, could be any aspect. There's a connection to past actions, behaviors, thought forms, experiences that either we or our ancestors participated in that potentially was a negative outcome that's leading to a replication or quantum entanglement of the same negative outcome that we're having at this moment in time. The most effective and perhaps most simple way to cleanse or clear that negative stored information or message that is within ourself, within our soul, within our heart, within our mind or our body, is to begin to adopt a practice or a process of amending or forgiveness. So with forgiveness, there's two directions it goes. There's the act of offering forgiveness to others and the act of asking for forgiveness for ourselves from others. This practice can be done individually and does not need to include other people. It can be done on the soul and heart level. It can be done silently or aloud, but it needs to be done from a place of authenticity or sincerity. That is why it's important that we understand the correlation to the current day negative experiences we may be having, that we may individually have caused that same replication to another person in another life, or that our ancestors may have done that. And so our responsibility in our soul's journey individually is to take responsibility for the experiences we're having that are challenging, that are negative, that are difficult. To actually take ownership. It requires a fair amount of humility to do this. For example, say somebody were to rear-end my car. My immediate response, naturally as a human, would be, I can't believe this happened to me. How dare they do that? And now I have to deal with the consequences, and this person is to blame. It's just a very natural way that we think. In a higher perspective of reality, I actually attracted that situation into my life. Vibrationally, it was in my field, in my energetic field, in my soul's field. And it was an opportunity for me to transform and amend that experience. And so with more consciousness and understanding, an alternative way that I could respond to that circumstance is, I'm so sorry if any way that I may have caused hurt or harm to another person associated to a car accident, or that my ancestors may have hurt or harmed another person associated to a car accident. I deeply and most sincerely apologize for my negative actions, behaviors, thoughts, intentions associated to this outcome. I most humbly ask for forgiveness to those that I or my ancestors may have hurt or harmed in this or all lifetimes. And I will do my best to transform this experience to create more of a positive outcome, more love, peace, and harmony. And instead of being angry or upset at the person that hit me, I would silently ask for their forgiveness. Because I am quantumly entangled with that individual, whether it was from myself or my ancestors. There's a karmic debt that needs to happen. And the debt can be amended through the process of forgiveness. Forgiveness brings peace, it brings joy, it brings light to one's life. As opposed to when we're feeling angry, resentful, hate, negativity. Those are very heavy messages that weigh on our soul, heart, mind, and body, and eventually actually have the potential to lead to more blockages and even manifest in forms of illness from the negative messages. Or we can choose to go in a very unique route, which is to take responsibility for the experiences that we are having individually, to amend them or neutralize them by offering forgiveness and asking for forgiveness, which then lightens the vibration within us. It changes the message from one that was heavy, dense, negative, painful, to one that is more light-filled, more joy-filled, more positive, open-hearted. So if this is a new message for you today, it's very simple to try and practice. It can be something that you're experiencing in your life, such as a headache or financial hardship. And you would just look at that aspect within you, and you would call on the souls that you or your ancestors may have hurt or harmed associated to that experience. And then you would also offer forgiveness if others had created hurt or harm towards you or your ancestors for that experience. It's important that it goes both ways. And you can do so within your heart, visualizing an experience of forgiveness. A very simple forgiveness mantra can be, I forgive you, please forgive me, let's create love, peace, and harmony. And you could repeat that several times. I forgive you, please forgive me, let's create love, peace, and harmony. Now, the message of Ho'oponopono is from the Hawaiian culture. It's a very sacred and special practice that takes place within families, individuals, groups, or communities to offer respect, reverence, righteousness, and amend negative information so that more love, peace, and harmony can be created. The message of Ho'oponopono is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So let's unpack that. I'm sorry is the part of taking responsibility, of going into humility. Please forgive me is asking that somebody else participate and be willing to open to the potential of forgiving us. This can happen directly or just silently through soul communication. The next part is thank you, which goes into the subject of gratitude. And then the final part is I love you, which is offering unconditional love, universal light, open-heartedness, compassion. So those 4 lines together add up to a very significant positive message. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That is also a practice that can be repeated as a mantra. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. What's very unique and special about the practice of Ho'oponopono is that you would take that message or that information of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And say if you were having an experience with another person that was challenging, like a coworker, and they were being judgmental or critical to you, you would visualize that person within your heart, and not only would you send them that message directly, but you would send yourself that message associated to that person or anybody else. So what that would look like is, if I was having an experience with a coworker and they were being judgmental or critical to me, I would say Ho'oponopono to myself. For I had somehow an association to criticism, judgment, negativity in a workplace environment that either I or my ancestors had created in the past. And I would visualize that melting or releasing of the criticism and the judgment within me by using the mantra of Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I would direct the forgiveness to cleanse the negative message from myself. You could also do Ho'oponopono with the other person, but starting with oneself is going to be more significant of a clearing or cleansing process. It's actually been proven to have such a significant result, to transform an outside relationship or circumstance by doing the work or the practice of forgiveness within one's self. So if you have something in your life that you're struggling with, a relationship, a circumstance, you could take your focus off of that person outside of you or the category outside of you and focus within yourself, going into a place of humility, sincerity, authenticity to the best of your ability at this time, and offering forgiveness, asking for forgiveness related to that person or that experience, that situation within you, of how you may have done that or your ancestors may have done that. It's a whole next level. It can radically transform one's life. It is a process of just beginning. You might not entirely get behind this information immediately. It might take some warming up. But as soon as something hits you that's hard or difficult, you could initiate a forgiveness practice and just see how it goes. It's going to generally bring more light to the moment. It's going to generally open one's heart, soften the density or heaviness that may be present. Again, this is an individualized process and does not need to be focused outside of you or to another person directly. In fact, it may have a more significant effect if it's not, because the other person might not be available to experience the forgiveness with you at this time. So now I'm going to talk about the message of gratitude, which actually partners with forgiveness. Again, it may take a little time to get behind this. But once a challenge, pain, a situation arises that is uncomfortable, if we can connect to the message of gratitude for that experience, it's so counterintuitive. But if we connect to the message of gratitude, it literally decreases the intensity or the hold or grip that difficult situation has over us. Because generally, we may feel as though we're in the right. We're right about feeling proud or prideful. Somebody else hurt or harmed us. Why are we deserving of this pain or challenge in our life? All of those qualities or conditions are actually associated to the ego. So when we release the message of the ego and go again into the message of humility and acknowledge, I am grateful for this challenge. I am grateful that this car accident happened. I am grateful that my coworker was negative to me, because it's giving me an opportunity, important keyword here, opportunity to transform a negative experience or message that I am here to transform, that I participated in individually or my ancestors did, that caused this outcome. And once I take responsibility for it and I'm grateful for it, it can transform so much faster, like a lot faster. If we stay in the ego aspect of, how dare this happen to me? I can't believe this. This is terrible. It's the worst thing ever. I deserve better. The pain, the suffering, the intensity may last much longer because we haven't gotten the lesson. That's an important part. We need to get the lesson, and we get the lesson by acknowledging our role, our responsibility, our participation in it. Gratitude and forgiveness are like taking hands in partnership and saying, okay, this sucks. I'm not stoked on this, but I'm willing to take responsibility. I get that I'm involved. I get I may have been a contributor to this experience. I'll amend it and I'll be grateful for it. And then it can clear really fast, so much faster, like a lot faster. If we don't get that understanding to go into forgiveness or gratitude, the circumstance can repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat year after year after year, or stay permanently, or multiply in potential future lifetimes. So if we actually want to get a message, understand it, transform it, and ultimately move on, which is really basically the point of our life, is to understand why we have something, amend it, transform it, and then go beyond it, beyond suffering, pain, negativity, blockages, so that we can have a more enlightened and heartfelt life. So going into a gratitude practice is also a very significant experience. To begin with, you don't have to entirely get behind it. You can literally just say the message of, I'm grateful. Thank you. Which is also part of the Ho'oponopono forgiveness prayer. Of, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Going into forgiveness and gratitude can revolutionize your life. It can open your consciousness. It can open your eyes. It can open your heart. It can heal and transform your body. It can heal relationships. It can heal finances. It can basically heal and transform all aspects of life. And it can spread into a replication of much more positive information, positive outcomes, positive experiences. The reason why I was inspired to do this message of gratitude and forgiveness today was before I started this talk, I was meditating on how grateful I am for my life and for my existence. It has not been a smooth or easy or super peachy keen life. It's been challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. Relationships, finance, family, home, health, everything, emotions. But those are now my greatest assets. Year after year, I have been amending them. I have been offering and asking for forgiveness. Daily, I have been offering gratitude. And what has happened is my life has transformed because I have taken responsibility and ownership for these aspects that I and my ancestors had originally participated in. And I am reaping the rewards and the benefits because things have changed. And they are much more now on the upswing and the positive note. All along, I've had much positivity in my life. It hasn't been super tragic or, terribly depressing. I've had a good balance. I've also had a lot of fortune and blessings. But the challenges were steady. And so I needed a way to manage them basically so that I wasn't going to go crazy. And thankfully, I was introduced to a daily committed forgiveness practice and a daily committed gratitude practice. Now, these practices also cross over through different religious beliefs, different organizational beliefs, different family morals and behaviors. And so they're not entirely unfamiliar or new to us, these teachings. But the part around us doing it for leading to a different cause and effect, taking responsibility for something that we experience, that may be slightly new information. It can be a really significant tool that is accessible in an instant. You don't have to have any money, any resources, any paper, any books to remember gratitude and forgiveness. You could begin doing it in the evening before you go to sleep or in the morning when you wake up. And once you get to the point of actually being grateful and offering gratitude to the difficult things in your life, your heart, your soul, your mind, your body will feel lighter, brighter. The entanglement of the negative outcomes or situations will decrease. And you will instead multiply more positive experiences. Now, of course, we can also be grateful for the positive experiences in our life. It's not just about focusing on the negative ones, but this is an opportunity that I wanted to share today of a really accessible tool that you can incorporate in your life. In the show notes, I'll type out the word ho'oponopono. It's a very long word, a short way that people refer to it as being pono. Taking responsibility, taking action. There's a lot of really great written material of information about ho'oponopono out there. There's also plenty about gratitude and forgiveness. I hope this was insightful and planted some seeds to digest and try out for yourself and see how it goes. Even if you don't believe in past lives, it's really irrelevant. It can just be about our actions and behaviors day to day and transforming them for ourselves and our ancestors. So I wish you much success in this process. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Thanks so much for listening. This program was brought to you by Akara Grace with Grace Light Wellness, a center for empowerment that is located in the Hawaiian Islands on the island of Kauai. We offer wellness retreats, private healing consultations, personal soul readings and life guidance, Akashic record readings, and transformational coaching sessions. These can all be done remotely or in person in Hawaii. Please visit akaragrace.com, AAKARAGRACE.com for more information. Wishing you a bright and beautiful day. Aloha.